So what's going on, guys? My name is Mr. Dalek JD and welcome back to another Call of Duty Zombies video here today on my channel. Now, the year is 2018 and whenever I think of 2018, my immediate thoughts is that Treyarch are back this year. And if that isn't your immediate first thoughts, then it should be at this point, and I am extremely excited about what they're going to be bringing this year, because it sounds so weird to me saying that Treyarch is back this year, because it feels like we've not had anything in such a long time that it feels like we're never ever going to get it. But in literally a few months' time, we're going to have the hype train starting up for the reveal of the game, and then of course later in the year, mid-year, it seems they're always going with it now, sort of June, July time, we should start to hear our first things about Black Ops 4 Zombies. Now, over the next few months, we're going to be doing a lot of videos like this, speculating and talking about things that we'd love to see within the game. So if you guys have any ideas which I don't mention, or you agree with the ones I've mentioned in this video, then let me know in the comment section. And if you want there to be loads of new game modes and you're excited for Black Ops 4 Zombies, then make sure you smash a thumbs up on the video as well. Now, Call of Duty Zombies is going to be 10 years old this year, which is quite a scary thing to think about. We've been playing this, potentially some of you guys, including myself, have been playing this for nearly 10 years now, and it's such a massive part of our lives. And we've seen, you know, a lot of maps in between those 10 years of history, and we've also seen a few game modes, but never too much besides that. So in this, we're going to be talking about game modes which we love to see them create inside of Black Ops 4 Zombies. And I feel since we've had zombies pretty much for 10 years, I feel like it's getting to the point now where we still love zombies so much, but I feel like a little bit needs to change in the gameplay side of things to really mix things up and keep it fresh. Now, the first game to really experiment with this was Black Ops 2 Zombies. On launch, we had Transit, which weirdly they were calling as their sort of story or campaign mode, which wasn't really actually what it was. It was more the whole zombies experience that we're used to. And then we had Survival, which was cut up into little sections of the Transit map. And then we also had Grief and Turned in Black Ops 2, which I thought were great. Now, I have said this many times before, I'm sure most of you will agree with me, but Grief and Turned felt like modes which had a lot of potential, but just seemed like they were in a beta testing sort of phase. There could have been a lot more that they could have done with it, which they didn't do. Now, multiple people, including myself, have asked Jason Blundell during the course of Black Ops 3 if we could see Grief and Turned return, as those are great modes that give you a little bit of time to play something a little bit different to the usual hecticness that is zombies, and jump into something a little more casual, but also something a little bit more multiplayer-esque. I think Black Ops 2 was the game which really took a lot of risks. There was Grief, of course, which is 4v4, which at first sounded absolutely unreal, and it was a lot of fun, but there just wasn't much to it. And Turned, I think, was a great mode. It's very fun to play, definitely, but it's the sort of thing you can only play for about 10, 50, maybe 20 minutes at max. Then you've really maxed out everything there is to do in it. But all those modes are tapping into multiplayer, but with the zombies twist, which I felt was really good and refreshing and something we've not really seen before. And I feel like it is a real shame if that sort of area isn't tapped into Black Ops 4 Zombies. Black Ops 3 Zombies was very heavily orientated on telling a story, which is fantastic and great, but that was just the main core experience. And I feel like as Zombies goes on, the whole essence of me playing the maps to see how long I can survive for and going for those high rounds seems to diminish less and less. Now, of course, the main focus on Zombies nowadays, the bread and butter of a Zombies map, and if it's good or not, is by its Easter egg quests and its side quests, and I totally feel like that is the case now. But I still feel like what should be done for more game modes is to perhaps have those sections of maps cut off, or the specific smaller maps which aren't exactly orientated on an Easter egg or story, but mainly for you to challenge yourself and to see how far you can survive in such a small area. I feel like that's something that World War II Zombies actually done pretty darn right. If we look at other maps like Black Ops 1, there isn't really anything like that, but Black Ops 2 we had Nuketown, and we also had Town and Farm, and Town's incredibly popular for surviving, as it basically gives you just enough to get by. And I feel like if if that had the same sort of treatment to some of the Black Ops 3 maps, some of the more sort of hardcore experiences like Shadows of Evil as like a starting map for brand new players is probably something which is very overwhelming. But giving them something like Town or Nuketown, and they're going to be right at home with where zombies is, and they can get straight into things and get used to the mechanics of zombies and basically surviving. Now, interestingly, during Black Ops 2's development, there was a number of other modes which were planned for zombies and sadly didn't make it into the full release. And I made a video at this around about this time last year talking about the secret Call of Duty Zombies game modes that we never saw. One of them being Race, which actually sounded pretty cool, and it was sections of the transit map which were changed, and essentially it was 2 teams of 4 which were racing against each other to try and complete certain objectives to unlock doors to essentially make their way from point A to point B the quickest. Now, there's a multitude of reasons why this wasn't put into the full game, but I feel with more time to develop these little mini games, they could have a lot of life to them, and it genuinely sounds quite fun. So if you look in today's zombies, a lot of people try and find replayability by doing Easter egg speed runs, and that in itself goes in hand with a game mode where it could be specifically about the Easter eggs and having specific leaderboards for timed completion. I feel like the game did track that progress for specific unlocks at the end of Easter eggs, like Gorod Krovi, if you completed that, and I believe under an hour and 20, maybe it was like maybe under an hour or something like that, you're granted with perma perks, which was something the game didn't tell you, but you still were rewarded with it. But I feel like with IW as well, with the boss battles, that was a timed thing, which was great. And I feel like as time's going on, the developers are realizing now that people love to do speed runs. They absolutely love it. If it's Easter eggs, if it's going for a specific round, there should be maybe options in the actual menus when you load up into the game to be able to change and customize to go for these sort of different objectives. Now, I did put out a tweet asking for opinions from the people I follow on Twitter, fellow zombie YouTubers, to see what they think, and there's some genuinely good ideas. So kind of going back on what I just mentioned, Avery mentioned the idea of actual custom games of some sort, even if they implemented player created challenges such as the 2-box or Pack-a-Punch challenge with leaderboards, that would have a lot of people grinding out those leaderboards, and I completely agree. Like, once we've played the main zombies maps and done the Easter eggs and side quests so much, we try and create our own little things to go ahead and do to achieve, and I feel like this would be great. I feel Treyarch has really gone into a good direction with the community challenges that they've had for different seasonal events, and there could be perhaps some community challenges for certain rounds achieved in certain areas, and they could be granted with some really cool in-game loot, or perhaps some certain perks, or a player card or something, just to show people that, you know, you really have bossed this and have leaderboards for it too. Now, this next idea is going to be a little controversial, as most people will probably agree with me and think this is amazing, and other people will say they hate it because this is now becoming a common theme within popular multiplayer games, and that is a battle royale. Now, I don't think that a battle royale, specifically in the way we're thinking of it, would work in zombies, because of course it's multiplayer and it's basically a huge free-for-all. But can you imagine a gigantic zombies map where it's such a huge world that you have to go around and scavenge items in order to survive? Like, imagine Transit, but multiply the size of that by 20 and have it as its open world and sort of like a always constant live, rather than it being a map which you are just loading into and it's like a locally played thing. It's something which is always constantly online, always running, perhaps a little bit like Destiny and how those worlds work. It's like trying to imagine a zombies map which is constantly always roaming around with people. There's always zombies to fight, and there's going to be constant updates and changes to the world to add more replayability. Just imagine a setup like this, but rather than it be focused around the premise crew or characters that we've played as before, they still exist within the world, and our actions do affect what happens in their story, but rather than that, we play it as a completely separate group, or a massive cult, if you will, of people in a community, and you could go around with friends in groups of 4, maybe groups of 8, and there's different like survival co-op missions or different maps and things to do. It's essentially taking zombies into a completely new level and generation that we've never seen it before, whilst also offering the classic story maps gameplay that we always want. It seems every time we get a Call of Duty Zombies from Treyarch, they always step up the bar and make it even harder for the developers to reach the same level of evolution that they bring to the mode. And I think something as insane as that would honestly make Zombies and the game something which we'd be able to play for years. And it seems like Black Ops 3 was almost like that in a way. We're still playing the game now. It's been out for over 2 years now, and wouldn't it be crazy if this game became like a hub for new content to come to the game all the time and it be updated for years and years, so it's always relevant and always has new content, and it's just a always living, breathing thing. I think a task as big as that is probably a tiny bit too ambitious for even Treyarch to do with the time that they have, as well as a DLC season and how things are set out right now for Call of Duty. But is it something to think in the future, perhaps maybe 3-5 years down the line, where Zombies could really go? The Zombies is a really special formula. Treyarch obviously have it perfect, and they have had it perfect for quite a while now, so I don't want them to exactly go and change things drastically like that, but I feel any big decisions and changes they do make is obviously going to be a positive thing in the long run, because they've not really done anything wrong at this point, and it is their creation. They can go with it how they will. But if you take a look at what Jason Blundell tried to do with Nightmares being this secret Zombies campaign, it really wasn't that great. It was cut and paste campaign missions with zombie AI rather than normal AI, and there wasn't really anything different. Even the cutscenes were the exact same, but just dubbed over audio, and it was not relatable in any way to the actual zombie story, so it made us not care about it at all. Whilst it was a great experiment, and I know it's something that Jason's wanted to do for a while, it just completely missed the mark. And I feel if they want to go ahead and do that same thing again, then they really need to go ham on a Zombies campaign mode. Perhaps have it as a separate group, which could be living in the world whilst things are happening. We can look at, during Black Ops 2, we had our crew, you know, the transit crew, but in maps like Die Rise, as well as Buried and Transit, there were radios where we heard loads of different people's viewpoints of other people that are existing in that world and are experiencing the same issues that our transit crew are having, where they're hearing voices of Maxis and Richtofen controlling them, and really there could be a load of, I guess, sort of side plots and other instances of things going on which would make the world seem a lot more realistic. It may sound sad, but the more I think about it, the more true this is, and it really feels like Treyarch Zombies is becoming like a saga as epic as, say, Star Wars is for movies. Treyarch Zombies is for the whole zombie genre and just video games in general. It's really gone through leaps and bounds in terms of the scale and the story, and I don't think it's going to stop here, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. I just think whatever Treyarch do decide to do in the future, they should definitely make it adaptable to where new content can be added in every so often. Some people are going to hate this, but taking Fortnite as an example, where they have their main survival mode and then the Battle Royale mode, the reason why Fortnite Battle Royale is so popular and so successful is because they honestly love the game. And I'm not saying Treyarch don't love the game, because they definitely do, but it shows because the guys at Epic Games are constantly updating Battle Royale with brand new modes, brand new weapons, and stuff which happens fairly often, if not once every 2 weeks. It makes the game feel exciting and fresh and just really, really cool to jump on again, even if you're not a big fan. The idea alone of there being something new that you've not tried yet since you last jumped on the game is going to entice you to want to jump on. And I feel like Zombies goes through massive highs and massive lows, and for Treyarch, I think they really realize at this point that no matter what they do, people are going to absolutely love the game and dedicate their lives to playing the Zombies mode. And if there's things they can do to keep it fresh, to keep things new, and even during the down periods add in lots more stuff like seasonal events and little updates here and there to add new things in, they honestly could be onto an absolute winner. But that's just me talking about modes, and that's not even half of it. I could probably think of even more things to talk about, which we can leave for another video, but this is just talking about game modes. There's so much they could do in terms of the story, the crew, the weapons, the perks, all that stuff, which we will talk about in the near future, of course, when we have a lot more stuff to talk about. But guys, let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts? What are your dream game modes? What would you love Treyarch to do to Zombies to make it even better than it already is, and to bring out a literally incredible game? If you enjoyed any of my ideas, I'd love to know down below, as well as dropping a thumbs up on the video, and make sure you're subscribing with notifications turned on so you don't don't miss any more videos like these and any more in the future. As soon as we get any info on zombies, be it World War II or with Treyarch's next game, you're going to hear it first on the channel, so you're going to want to make sure you've got that little bell icon turned on. But if you missed my last video talking about what changes could be made if Treyarch were to remaster Mob of the Dead, you can check that on screen right now. But thank you for watching, you've been amazing, and I'll catch you next time.
Subscribe to Mr. Dalek JD's channel. He's a good man, he's an honest man, and he will bring you the latest zombie news on his channel. So please subscribe. Click the subscribe button.
It's going to be somewhere down there.
Something down there.